Welcome to the channel, guys. Today we're looking at another really cool accessory from DNT Optics. This is their new NVMD, which stands for Night Vision Multi-Use Device. And right there in the name lets you know this is another really versatile device from DNT Optics. We'll go over what all this optic does, all the uses behind it. I'll show you some of the features of it. We'll go out, sight it in, use it as a standalone scope, as a magnifier behind my red dot, and we'll test out its night vision capabilities. So be sure to stay tuned. This is an optic you're not going to want to miss out on. Really quick deal dump before we get rolling. If you're picking up gear, be sure to use code KYTAC for 10% off at Brownells, or you could use that code for 7% off at Optics Planet. I've got a whole pile of other discounts on my campsite page, and there's a link to my campsite page in the description and down in the pinned comment. If I have a code for a particular website, it'll be listed in the title of the link on my campsite page, so be sure to take advantage of those savings. Also, a huge shout out to my channel members. I really appreciate you guys. You guys are helping keep the lights on and the guns fed. If you're watching this video and you'd like to become a member to help support the channel, just hit that join button beneath the video. That'll put you on the front lines of helping to grow this channel. And real quick, if you guys could do me a huge favor, if this video popped up in your For You page, please take a second to comment FYP. That lets me know that YouTube's not censoring my videos from you. It gives me a lot of information and it helps drive the algorithm. Alright guys, enough yapping. Let's get back into the video. Alright guys, to start off with, let's go over all the many different roles that the NVMD can fill. I'll start off with how I've got it set up here as a night vision capable magnifier behind my primary red dot optic. I found that in this role I get the most versatility out of this optic. First, I'm able to run it just as a magnifier. In magnifier mode, it has a 1 to 3 setting option, a 1 to 5 setting option, and a 1 to 6 setting option. Let me bring you into the scope and I'll show you that setting now. So we're just looking at some stickers across the room. Let me go ahead and pull up the settings. You can see we're in magnifier mode. We'll just turn the top knob until we come down to the magnification settings. And you can see I've got set on 1 to 3. And we have a 1 to 5 option and a 1 to 6 option. There's your 1 to 5 option. You can see we get pretty good magnification. And once we go out of the screen, we can go up to 1 to 6. And there you can see my red dot on the screen. I've been running it in the 1 to 3 setting. I think it gives a little bit clearer of a picture. But those other options are available if you need them. Now the great thing about the NVMD, you have that capability of the daytime and the nighttime. I like to keep it in full color mode of the daytime. Now to use the night vision modes, you're going to have to use either the black and white setting, the green phosphor setting, or the white phosphor setting. I tend to use the white phosphor setting. Another option I have by running the NVMD in this role is to use the NVMD as a standalone optic. So I can just sight through my red dot, leave my red dot turned off, and use the reticle that's built into the NVMD. It has a few different reticles available. My favorite is the first focal plane BDC reticle, and you'll see me use that throughout the video. And of course that standalone option works of the daytime or the nighttime using the night vision settings. And lastly, with the optics set up in the role that I have it here, I can use this as an action camera. I have the NVMD mounted on its flip to side mount, and there's a function inside the settings that you can trigger that activates the recording function when it senses that it's been flipped to the side. So you get an action camera, you can record your shooting. You'll also see that later on in the video. And outside of how I'm running the optic, it can also be used as a clip-on in front of a day scope. So if you'd prefer to use it as a night vision clip-on, that option's available to you as well. Now before we go any farther, I want to let you guys know DNT did send the NVMD to the channel so I could check it out and show it to you guys. No money exchanged hands. I'm not affiliated with DNT. I don't make any money from any sales. DNT was nice enough to send the optic to the channel so I could check it out. I do have to send it back, or I have an option to buy it at a discounted price, which I'm definitely going to do because I'm really impressed with this optic. I don't have an exclusive discount code for you guys with DNT, though you can use code SAVE10 to save 10% off anytime you purchase anything off DNT's website. I'm not going to waste your all's time going over any of the specifications. You can go to DNT's website and check them out. They're pretty easy to find there. Let me bring you into the optic. I'll show you some of the settings and what's available. Then we'll head out to the range, sight the NVMD in its standalone scope mode. Once we're sighted in, we'll try it out on some distant targets. Then we'll let the sun go down and check out the night vision mode. You'll notice on the front of the NVMD we've got two buttons. This front button is your power button. You just hold that button down to turn the unit on. You can also short press that button to put it into standby mode. And if you want to shut the optic off, you just hold it down again and you'll get a countdown on the screen until the unit shuts off. The button behind that is your record button. Just tap it once to start recording, tap it again to stop recording. Coming on back, you've got a knob here. Turning this knob is how you cycle through the settings. And to bring the settings up, there's a button here on top of the knob. You just hold that down and your settings will pop up. Then just turn the knob till you get to your desired setting. Once you're on the setting that you want to access, you just push that button. That brings up whatever you've selected. To back out of that setting, you just hold the button down. And you can hold the button down again to bring you completely out of the settings. When you purchase the NVMD, it comes with a QD cantilever mount. DNT also has this flip to side mount available that's also on a QD. This will allow you to flip the optic out of the way when it's not in use, and it'll also trigger that action camera mode. I definitely think the NVMD is its most versatile in the flip to side mount. At first I was worried about it being able to retain zero in its standalone scope mode, but I've since alleviated all worries of that. I've been testing this optic for a little over a month, and after repeatedly flipping this optic to the side and back, it's still maintained a very accurate zero. This flip to side mount is very sturdy. It feels very substantial. It's a really solid mount, and I can confirm it will hold the zero on the optic. Let's go in and look at some settings inside the scope. Then we'll head out and get this optic sighted in its standalone mode. We'll test it out to distance, test out that action camera function. Then we'll let the sun go down and test out its night vision capabilities. Alright, when you first turn the scope on, this is the screen you're met with. We're just again looking at my stickers on the wall. At the bottom of the screen you'll see the built-in level. That lets you know if you're tilting the optic to one side or the other. To the far left of the screen you'll see a gyroscope. And when you're recording, that'll show up in the top left of the screen. Let's go ahead and access our settings by holding down the button on the knob. The first thing that's going to pop up at the top is your sight modes. If I click into that, you'll see we have magnifier mode, clip-on mode, and scope mode. Let's check out scope mode. When I select scope mode, you'll see we have a crosshair on the screen, and that is my preferred crosshair that we have up there. That's the first focal plane BDC reticle. But if you'd like to try a different reticle, you can scroll down here to reticle settings, select that, select reticles, and we're on the BRR BDC reticle. This is your post reticle, round across, and you can select to hide the reticle. You can also change the colors of the reticle from red, green, yellow, black, or white. Coming down from sight modes, you'll see we have a connection setting, and it does have built-in Wi-Fi. Coming down from there, we have our zeroing function. You'll see that later on in the video. Then you have flip to side action camera. This is where you can turn on or off the action camera function. Picture in picture settings. So if you want picture in picture, you can set where on the screen you'd like to see that. Coming on down, you have recoil activated video. If you have this turned on, then the scope will sense the recoil of the gun and begin recording. And it'll go back 10 or 15 seconds and record whatever happened before it sensed the recoil. Coming on down, we have our magnification settings. And we have that 1 to 3 times magnification, 1 to 5 times magnification, or 1 to 6 times magnification available. Coming on down from there is our mode switch, and this is going to be where you can select your night vision settings. Right now we're in full color. If I select this, we can change to black and white. This setting does work with the night vision. Or we can come down to green phosphor and white phosphor, which is my preference for night. Coming on down, we have our function settings. You can set it to automatically power off if you leave it in the standby mode for a certain length of time. We can set it to loop record. We can turn the audio on and off. You can calibrate the gyroscope, turn the compass on or off, and adjust your screen brightness. Coming on down, we have our system settings. This is where you can set your date and time, the language, format the internal SD card, restore everything to default settings, see how much available storage you have, and see which version of software you have. Alright guys, so there was a quick run through of all the settings. Let's head out, get sighted in standalone mode, and do some shooting with the NVMD. Alright guys, we're going to get the NVMD sighted in. As you can see, I've got it set up here on this 10.5 inch carbine. This is the gun I plan to leave this optic on. It's going to work in tandem with my red dot sight, and I'll essentially be able to use this NVMD in 3 different roles: as a standalone scope, as a magnifier for my red dot, and as a flip to side action camera. So to go ahead and get the NVMD sighted in, I'm going to leave my red dot optic off. I'm going to use the NVMD in its standalone scope mode. So we'll have a crosshair inside the optic. We'll get that crosshair sighted in. Once I'm sighted in, I'll go ahead and zero my red dot to that reticle. That should allow me to use the NVMD as a magnifier, so I can turn that reticle off, use it in magnifier mode. But if I want to take a shot out to distance or several other scenarios, I can turn my red dot off, turn this back to standalone scope, use the crosshair within the NVMD to engage my targets. So I've got a target set up at 25 yards. I'm going to go ahead and sight the NVMD in at 25 yards for right now, get myself on paper, and then I'll probably push it out to 100 yards. Let's go ahead and see where we're hitting at on paper at 25 yards. Alright, here you can see it at 1x, there's 2x, 3x, 4x, 5x, and 6x. Alright, now we've got a group on paper, so I'm confident we can get our NVMD zeroed in. I'm going to go into the scope and adjust the zero to where our group's at. The DNT NVMD makes it super simple. I'll bring you into the scope and let you see that process. Alright, so within the scope, I'll go ahead and go to my zeroing function. And I'll freeze it when I've got the reticle on the bullseye. It's close enough for now. And I'll just adjust the reticle over to where I actually hit. And our shots landed right around in there somewhere. With our new zero locked in, let's go ahead, take another shot, and see if we're closer to that bullseye. Alright, once again there I was shooting with my eyeglasses up on my hat and not covering my eyes. Got a really bad habit of that. But anyway, we do have a 3-shot group that's close to our bullseye. I'm going to go ahead and go in and refine that 0. I did go down and shade my group in with a black Sharpie so I could see it better within the optic. That'll help us get a really tight 0. And downrange there you can see my group that I colored in with the Sharpie. I've got the crosshairs on it. So let's go ahead and just bring that over just a tad and down just a hair. I'd like to leave it about 1 inch high. Okay, that's not bad. That right there. And let's bring it to about right there. That should be perfect. Let's put another group on paper. Yeah, I might have pulled that one a little. Now remember, we're looking to be about 1 inch high, so let's go down and check it out. Alright, and there's our new group at 25 yards, about 1 inch high, right where I'd like it to be. You can see where we first shot and adjusted it down to our desired location. Pretty easily done in the DNT NVMD optic. And all of DNT's optics have that zeroing feature, which is really nice to have, really easy to use. I really like that function. Alright, now that we've got the 0 we want at 25 yards, I've took our target out to the 100-yard range, and we'll try the NVMD out at 100 yards. Out there's our target at 100 yards. There's it, 1X. Really like this first focal plane reticle inside the NVMD. Alright, let's take a few shots and see where we're at 100 yards. Alright, there's a 3-shot group. Alright, let me sound right here and see where we hit at 100 yards. Alright, my 25-yard 0 sent the round a little high at 100 yards over my target, so I didn't get a group on paper. So I already went into the scope, adjusted the reticle up. We should be on paper now. Let me go ahead and shoot another 3-shot group at 100 yards. Alright, let's go down range and see what that did for us. Alright, here's our group at 100 yards. We got one here, one there, and there. Not the best group in the world, but not the best picture or crisp, sharp picture that we need at 100 yards to get really precise shots. I'm going to say we need to bring the reticle over about 1.5 inches and call it good. Alright, probably a fruitless exercise, but I'm going to go ahead and see if I can hit my target at 240 yards. The ammo I've been using today is my bulk 223 hand loads, not a precision load by any means. And as you can see on my groups here, it's definitely not the best ammo in the world. But we do have that 6 times magnification. It should be unheard of to be able to get a shot on this 10-inch steel at 240 yards. So let's waste a little ammo, see what we can do. Alright, let's try it 240 yards. I've got the crosshair right on my 10-inch steel target. We'll go ahead and use the VDC. Use the top of the post there. See where that gets us. And a miss. There we go. Just need to give it a little bit of wind. Got it again. So, not as difficult as I thought it was going to be. There we go. So that's pretty easy to do, not bad at all. Let's try this 8-inch plate at 270 yards. So I'll just split the difference here on the BDC. Got it. Not bad. Got that plate. So the NVMD does give us capability out to a pretty good distance. That was 270 yards, and it feels like you could definitely push it out quite a bit further. We are here at dusky dark. Target's not showing up the best in the world, but there's a good reason why we're here at dusky dark. We're going to let the sun go down. We're going to use this scope for what it's really meant for, its night vision capabilities. So once the sun goes on down, we'll check out the night vision capabilities of the NVMD. In the meantime, I want to try out the action camera mode. I've got it set up in the settings. When I flip the NVMD to the side, it's supposed to kick into action camera mode. So let's give that a try. Alright, I just thought of something I wanted to test out. Since we've got the NVMD zeroed in standalone mode, we got a nice zero. We know we can hit out to 270 yards pretty regularly. I've got this scope mounted in the flip to side mount. So I want to make sure that after I flip it to side and back into place a few times, that it's going to maintain and hold that zero. Like I said, it feels like a really robust flip to side mount, and I'm sure it's not designed for standalone scope mode, but it would be really awesome if that would hold zero. So we flipped it to side a few times. Let's see if we can still hit that target out at 270. Alright, we flipped the scope to the side several times. Now let's see if we're still zeroed and can engage this target at 270 yards. Yeah, still right on target. Alright, I'm satisfied that it's held zero. This is a really nice flip to side mount, and it's really impressive that it's able to hold zero even when you flip it to the side and back several times. That goes to show you the quality of the mount. It definitely feels like a substantial mount, and it's nice to get that reassurance and confirm for myself that yes, it'll hold zero. So that lets me know that I'm going to be able to use this gun in several different modes. I can use it as a standalone scope with 1:6 magnification with a first focal plane crosshair. I can use it as a magnifier in either 1:3 or 1:5 magnification. I can use it as a night vision device with my red dot or in standalone scope mode. And I can flip it to the side and use it as an action camera, which we'll try out right now. Alright guys, I've got the NVMD set over into magnifier mode. So we don't have a crosshair in the optic. We'll be relying on our red dot. We're going to go ahead and test out that flip to side action camera. Now, won't be a whole lot of action because I film all these videos myself, so I've got to stand in one spot here so you guys can see what's going on. But we'll go ahead and get the view through the camera and through the NVMD. Let's try it out. And it stops recording when I flip the optic back to the correct orientation. Alright guys, the only thing left to do now is let it get dark and we'll check out the night vision capability. Alright guys, we've let it get sundown dark. It's about as dark as you can ask for. I'm using a flashlight here just to light up my face for the camera. Once I turn this light off, you'll see it's pitch black dark. So we're going to have to rely on the picture through the NVMD. It actually sees pretty good in the dark. I will be running it with infrared light. The infrared light is pretty much required, but you can get a little bit of picture depending on the ambient light that's available. So let's go ahead and run a mag in night vision magnifier mode on 1x. Alright, as y'all can see, I was able to clear them targets pretty easily. Alright, there was a quick shoot of the night. Pitch black dark. We were able to engage our targets really effectively. Let's head inside and I'll give you my final thoughts on the DNT NVMD. Alright guys, final thoughts on the NVMD. I'm really loving this optic. This optic's going to give you a lot of capability for not a lot of money. You can typically pick up the NVMD for under $800 and less than that with the discount codes that are out there. With DNT, you're usually getting a lot of value for your dollar, a lot of functionality. All of their optics are very versatile. All of their optics are able to perform many different roles. Digital night vision and digital thermal optics are coming a very long way. If you're not prepared to dump multiple thousands of dollars on an analog night vision device, I think DNT offers some of the very best digital night vision that's available today. If you're a hunter, this is going to give you a lot of capability for those hog hunts or coyote hunts. In most cases, you will need to pair it with an IR light of the nighttime, which for civilian uses, that's not no big deal. If you are planning to use this in a defensive scenario, just be aware that any near peer with night vision capability, they're also going to be able to see that IR light and it's probably going to give your position away. But if you're just looking to be able to go out and shoot at the nighttime, be able to identify your targets and engage them accurately, the NVMD can definitely give you that capability. Outside of its night vision capabilities, it works very well as a magnifier behind a red dot. And I really like that flip to side action camera mode. I'll definitely be putting that to use on some YouTube shorts here coming up. All in all, I think the NVMD is a very high value optic. I've paid over $800 just for red dot optics before, and the NVMD is going to give you much more capability than any red dot optic will. It comes with a really solid cantilever mount, and I'm really loving this flip to side mount that's available separately. If you're interested in checking out the NVMD, head over to DNT's website. Don't forget that code SAVE10 to knock 10% off the price. Guys, if you liked the video, please take a second to hit that like button. Drop down in the comments, let me know what you think of the NVMD or if you're interested in trying one out for yourself. If you're not subscribed, go ahead and hit that subscribe button with all notifications. Be safe, be dangerous, and be sure to catch me on the next video.